A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a tragic turn of events, 5 Israeli soldiers were killed in combat in the northern Gaza Strip, as confirmed by the Israeli military on Tuesday. This incident occurred while indirect negotiations for a ceasefire between Tel Aviv and Hamas were ongoing in Qatar, highlighting the precarious situation in the region. The military reported that 2 soldiers fell during combat in the Beit Hanoun area, while 3 others were killed and 2 severely wounded in the same incident. Additionally, the Israeli army stated that 14 soldiers were injured during clashes with Palestinian resistance forces, bringing the total number of Israeli soldiers killed since the onset of the conflict in October 2023 to nearly 890, with around 5,860 others injured. The ongoing conflict has resulted in a staggering loss of life on both sides. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, over 57,500 Palestinians, predominantly women and children, have been killed since the war began. The situation has drawn international scrutiny, with the International Criminal Court issuing arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. The recent casualties among Israeli forces were reported to have occurred due to a roadside bomb explosion, an attack that also resulted in the death of 18 Palestinians from Israeli airstrikes across Gaza. The strikes have raised concerns about civilian safety, especially as they reportedly targeted areas where displaced individuals had sought refuge. Health officials indicated that one of the airstrikes hit tents in Khan Yunis, resulting in multiple fatalities, including a family of 4. As Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu visits Washington for discussions with U.S. President Donald Trump regarding a ceasefire plan, the urgency for a resolution has intensified. While no significant breakthroughs have been reported, the deaths of the soldiers may amplify pressure on Netanyahu to negotiate a ceasefire, especially given the growing public sentiment in Israel favoring an end to the conflict. Israeli security officials revealed that explosive devices had been detonated against the soldiers during their operations, and militants opened fire on the forces that were evacuating the wounded. The military has yet to comment on the airstrikes but maintains that Hamas is responsible for civilian casualties, alleging that the militant group operates within populated areas. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is reaching alarming levels, with the healthcare system nearing collapse. The Palestine Red Crescent announced the closure of the Al-Zaytoun medical clinic in Gaza City due to nearby shelling, forcing thousands of civilians to travel long distances for medical care. The ongoing conflict has severely affected the population, with many families displaced and lacking access to basic necessities. In recent developments, the U.S. administration is advocating for a ceasefire agreement that would include a 60-day pause in hostilities, the influx of humanitarian aid into Gaza, and the release of hostages held by Hamas. However, negotiations remain complex, with key sticking points including whether the ceasefire would lead to a permanent end to the conflict. Hamas has expressed willingness to release hostages in exchange for an end to the war and a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Netanyahu insists that the conflict will only cease once Hamas surrenders and disarms, a condition that the militant group has categorically rejected. The war began on October 7, 2023, following a surprise attack by Hamas that resulted in the deaths of approximately 1,200 people in Israel and the capture of 251 others. Since then, Israel has launched a military offensive in Gaza, resulting in a high death toll, particularly among civilians. The Gaza Health Ministry, which operates under Hamas governance, reports casualties without distinguishing between combatants and non-combatants, a practice that has led to criticism from various international observers. As the situation continues to evolve, the international community watches closely, hoping for a resolution that will bring an end to the violence and provide relief to those affected by the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The loss of life on both sides underscores the urgent need for diplomatic efforts to secure a lasting peace and prevent further escalation of the conflict. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.